Hey, Emily, welcome back.
Thank you.
Um, I wanted to ask you one of my favorite questions. As I mentioned, I get a lot of really cool answers to it. And I find that influencers have come in like all sorts of sizes, cultures, languages, sometimes for a moment at a time, sometimes for long periods. Can you share a couple of people that have been influencers for your life?
So I think influence is about whether you're allowed to go and be allowed to change the world. And so I want to talk about someone who actually gave me permission to do it, and then someone actually who focused what I should do to actually go change the world. So the first one is my dad. I think a lot of people in the world actually lack having someone that is a mentor that has actually gone and changed the world before. And if they can't see it, it's very hard to know that they're allowed to do it themselves. But my dad was actually the one who worked out that carbon monoxide poisoning can cause brain damage. Back, when he was doing a doctorate in medicine and, went through 40,000 cases to try and work out that link. But it is why if people get poisoning now, they immediately get oxygen. It's why firefighters take air into burning buildings. And then he was a whistleblower, which is a very, very tough thing to be. But he, got a hospital that was doing very bad things shut down in Australia. Something that even 40 years ago is sort of still rearing its head occasionally.
Yeah.
And, the respect to see someone who went through that amount of pain to do the right thing and save so many people's lives was really important. But the third thing for him was that he actually was a pioneer in a brain surgery that saved a lot of lives, but also has become the foundation for a lot of the brain-computer interface work that's actually happening now. So it's just extraordinary to be around someone who truly has changed the world and is very humble about it. But it gave me the sense that I wanted to do it myself, and yet I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I then, 5 years ago, read the book Exponential Organizations by Salim Ismail when it first came out, and went, this actually feels like the methodology and the area to focus on of how I could actually take the learnings from other companies that were changing the world and say, hey, let's go into large corporations and help them to change the world,
Mm-hmm.
help refocus them on how to improve the lives of millions of people and use their existing scale to do that. And I happened to meet Salim 5 weeks later,
Oh,
maybe even not that, and said to him, hey, can I come and work for you? And he said, hey, we actually have a project starting in a few weeks where we'd love to have you involved. And 18 months ago, I became CEO of the company he had created. So it's sort of given me the focus. So sometimes you need both the permission and that, the person that you can see actually doing it in front of you. And sometimes you also need the person who really focuses what you will do to go change the world.
wow. That's all I can say. First of all, your dad sounds amazing. Um, and the fact that he's humble must have made it easier for your mom, I would think.
Yes.
um, but the thing about the different people that he impacted by what he did is incredible, and I truly believe things happen for a reason. What he did, what he showed you, reading the book, meeting Salim. I'm reading a book right now called Journey of Souls that talks about things like that, meeting people that deja vu, whatever you want to call it, and stuff. So thank you so much for sharing that. That is super cool. That's one of the more interesting parent stories I've heard for influencers. And
Can I add something to that? Because you
yeah,
really picked
man.
up on an important thing, which is sometimes things happen for a reason. So just as my father was presenting his thesis, his PhD thesis on the carbon monoxide poisoning, his parents went to go and stay with him to go celebrate. And literally at the time that he presented his thesis, they managed to set his kitchen on fire. And my grandfather had carbon monoxide poisoning. And when my father got to the hospital, he said, you need to give him oxygen straight away, and showed his thesis. And the doctor said, oh, yes, and changed the entire policy for the hospital. And then that was the start of it becoming the policy around the entire world. So it
Whoa.
sometimes is exactly the right place at the right time.
No kidding. And not by accident. It's, you know, you didn't want that to happen, but there's a reason it happened, maybe.
That's right.
That's amazing. Maybe we should stay on longer, because there's probably more. We can do part two, and thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.